What's going on, guys? Lomax here, and today I'm going to be bringing you part 1 of a video series on how to level Gaige from level 1 to level 80 OP10. We're only going to be covering normal mode in this video as there is a lot of information to cover, too much for me to want to put in just one video. We'll be going over good gear for Gaige to use, bosses and items to farm, skills to spec into, and how to go through the game more efficiently than just a casual playthrough. There's going to be a lot here, so you can always replay any part of the video or pause whenever you need to. And if you have any questions on anything, let me know in the comments. Before we get started, there's a number of things that I want to bring up. First, I understand that you can now skip normal mode by creating a level 30 character, but keep in mind that if you do this, you will start in normal mode at the final story mission, which will be covered at the end of this video, and there might be something there that will help you out. Also, I don't recommend creating a level 30 character if you've never played the game. You'll want to play through normal mode in order to learn your character and get a feel for how they work before being plunged into the deep end. Next, I just want to say that this is not a be-all end-all guide on how to play Gaige. I encourage you guys to explore her skill trees and gear options and try them out for yourselves, and hopefully this will be a good starting point for you to do that as we cover some of her skills and gear. But the purpose of this guide is to get to max level fairly efficiently, not to mess around with builds, because it can take a long time to level up if you were just casually going through the game. Next, this is primarily meant for solo play, but you can still do this co-op. It's a little more inconvenient because there is a fair amount of farming. A lot of these bosses are still good to farm for XP, and the gear recommendations will still be fine for solo or co-op. Also, if you are not playing Gaige, a lot of this information will apply to other characters, except for some gear recommendations and obviously what points to spec into. The general order of what to do can be done by any character. Next, this guide will assume you have all of the DLCs. We won't be covering much of the DLCs in normal mode, but we will down the road on the way to max level. I think most people have them by now, and the Handsome Collection comes with them all. Lastly, I want to mention an item that you will probably have when you start a character at level 1 or level 30, the Contraband Skyrocket. It's a grenade that arcs upwards when you throw it and causes an explosion of fireworks. You will want to keep this one for a while and to get used to its trajectory. It's very good for bosses that aren't resistant to fire and scales with your level, so it's useful in both normal mode and TVHM. If your version of the game does not have one, because not all may, you might face more of a challenge, but you can still manage with Tesla grenades in most cases. If you do want to use another grenade, just don't sell your Skyrocket. One thing to be careful of is that you can easily down yourself with this grenade. I can't stress this enough, just get used to throwing it. You need to aim at the ground and don't throw it at anything directly in front of you, or you will go into fight for your life. It's a high risk, high reward grenade. Alright, let's get into the guide. Starting from level 1, we'll run the story as normal. You start in Windshear Wastes with the quest Blindsided. If you have the UVHM Pack 2, you can travel to the raid on Digistruct Peak and complete the first mission, which will take you to level 3 and will give you a nice boost in experience. The area and quest are leveled to 35, but you don't actually fight anything. You just open a door for Tanis. If you don't have this DLC, it's not a big deal. We'll continue with the story until the midpoint of Best Minion Ever. Run the mission until you kill Boom Boom and shoot the gate open with the cannon. At this point, you should be level 5 and can grab your action skill Death Trap, which will summon a Digistruct robot that can melee enemies and can be improved as you level up. Save and quit after you shoot Claptrap away and talk to Hammerlock to pick up the quest This Town Ain't Big Enough. Complete this quest in order to pick up another quest from Hammerlock called Bad Hair Day. Do this quest, and turn it into Hammerlock to get a Jacob's sniper rifle that can be very useful against Boom Boom. Then farm Boom Boom until level 7. When you hit level 6 off of Boom Boom, take Anarchy in the Ordered Chaos tree. Anarchy is Gaige's main damage skill, and here's how it works. Whenever you kill an enemy or empty your magazine while in combat, you will gain a stack of Anarchy. All Anarchy stacks will be lost whenever you reload when your mag is not empty, or you are killed. Unfortunately, this is an issue that you will have to deal with for a while. Stacks can also be lost during Fight for Your Life, but they slowly decay rather than disappear completely. Anarchy will increase your gun damage by 1.75% while reducing your accuracy by the same amount. You can have up to 150 stacks of Anarchy until you get a skill further down the skill tree. Now at 150 stacks, it sounds like you will probably be wildly inaccurate, but it actually is pretty manageable with most weapons. Plus, we probably won't get that many stacks in normal mode. One thing to note regarding Anarchy is that kills by Death Trap will not give you a stack of Anarchy unless you were involved in them. For example, if you shoot one bullet at an enemy and then Death Trap finishes them off, this will give you a stack. But if Death Trap takes someone out on his own, you will not get one. We will do a lot of farming in this run, and unfortunately you will lose all of your Anarchy stacks upon saving and quitting. Out of all the characters, Gaige will likely have the most trouble with the farming because of this. But it really isn't as bad as it sounds. The Skyrocket will help out a lot, and if you don't have one of those, Tesla grenades are a good substitute, which you can farm ammo vendors for. I recommend lobbed or longbow Teslas with a low fuse time. At levels 7 through 11, we're going to briefly leave the Ordered Chaos tree and head to the Best Friends Forever tree to take Cooking Up Trouble. Cooking Up Trouble will give you health regeneration while your magazine is full. It's a pretty low amount overall at 0.4% per point in the skill, for a high of 2% without any class mods. But it is useful for healing between combat and has great synergy with low magazine weapons, specifically Jacob's shotguns, which we'll come to know and love. After hitting level 7, proceed through the story and get to Sanctuary and complete the mission Plan B to unlock Hunting the Firehawk. From here, before you go to Frostburn Canyon, you will go to Three Horns Divide and farm Savage Lee, who can be found right before the area where Corporal Reese was being attacked by psychos. The goal here is to get an Unkempt Herald. However, if you hit level 10 before you see one, stop farming and proceed with the Hunting the Firehawk mission. The Unkempt Herald will make your life easier, but you can get by without one if you don't want to keep farming. We'll get a new gun in Frostburn Canyon. If you do make it to level 10 off of this farm, you should have 4 points in Cooking Up Trouble. When you enter Frostburn Canyon for the first time, leave and then enter again. When you enter again, follow the mission objectives until you enter a cave. Keep going until you come upon a pool of water at a fork in the cave. Continue down this path until you get to a smaller puddle of water with a gun in the middle of it. This is a Lasco, and the reason there are multiple versions of this gun is because you entered and then re-entered Frostburn Canyon. Every time you enter Frostburn without saving and quitting, this gun will spawn in this puddle. You can enter and exit more than twice to give yourself more options for your Lasco. If you did not get an Unkempt Herald, this gun should help you out quite a bit. Finish the Hunting the Firehawk mission and start a damn fine rescue. You will travel to the Dust and meet Ellie, who will tell you how to get the right car that you need to enter the Bloodshot Stronghold. Before you enter the Bloodshot Stronghold, you will kill a nomad named Bad Maw. Kill him and then enter the Bloodshot Stronghold and buy ammo at the vendors at the entrance. From here, turn around and leave the Bloodshot Stronghold through the entrance. Bad Maw will have respawned for you to kill him again. When you kill him, save and quit, then respawn into the game. Bad Maw will respawn for you to kill him again. Repeat until you are level 12. This is one of those parts where you may wish you had Anarchy, but Death Trap and a Contraband Skyrocket should help you out. Again, Tesla's here if you do not have the Skyrocket. If you did get an Unkempt Herald before, this would also be a good option. At this point, we're going to try to make our way down to Discord in the Ordered Chaos tree so you can reload again without losing all your stacks. For this, we need to take Smaller, Lighter, Faster, which will make your reload speed faster but will reduce your mag size. This will also make it easier for you to get stacks. Take this skill from level 12 to 15. I want to note one thing about Smaller, Lighter, Faster. If you have a gun with a 1 magazine clip size, you will not be able to fire it if you have this skill, as it reduces your mag size to 0. The Infinity Pistol is the most common example that people experience this with, but it goes for other weapons as well. After hitting level 12, continue with the story mission and rescue Roland. After this, when you return to Sanctuary, talk to Tannis to pick up the mission Splinter Group. Pick up the pizza from Moxie's and return to the Bloodshot Stronghold. There is a second area not far from the entrance that you can now enter. Continue to the end of this area to find an intercom where you will alert the rats that you have their pizza. Then kill them, ideally with the skyrocket as it can one-shot them. Do what you can to each of them individually and then summon Deathtrap when they spawn as a group. And don't forget Flinter at the end for some more XP in a chest. Turn the mission into Tannis and then come back to kill them again. Farm the rats until level 15. We haven't talked much about weapons to look for at this point other than some uniques or legendaries. You can get away with using less than ideal gear more in normal mode than you will be able to in UVHM unless you have a higher stat count. But here's some good options for non-uniques that I like on Gaige. Jacob's shotguns are the best for building anarchy stacks. Ideally, you'll want one with a double barrel or more. Torg shotguns are also nice as they are quite powerful and they generally have a lower mag size, but the fire rate is slower. Hyperion shotguns are also a nice option, but not as great for building stacks. I also really like Malawan and Vladov snipers on Gaige as they can both spawn an elemental damage. Corrosive snipers will be great for all the loaders that you will encounter later in the game. Jacob's sniper rifles in general are good, but you may have a hard time hitting crits at higher levels of anarchy. Hyperion, Malawan, and Bandit are all good options for SMGs. Bandit SMGs deal high damage, but have a higher mag size and a long reload speed, which are not ideal for gaining stacks. Malawan SMGs deal lower damage, but will always spawn with an element. And Hyperion SMGs are generally pretty good, but at high levels of anarchy, they will have crazy recoil. Vladov pistols will have a high fire rate and are a solid option in normal mode. Personally, other than this, I'm not big on non-unique or non-legendary pistols. I think that there are better options, but most things with anarchy will be useful. You'll also want a second winding weapon if you go into fight for your life, and bandit rocket launchers are a great option. They have higher magazine sizes and only consume 1 ammo per shot. Torque launchers also do a lot of damage, but generally have low magazines and a long reload time. Vladov launchers are also nice as they only consume 2 ammo for every 3 shots and have a high fire rate. E-Tech launchers such as the Topnia and the Malawan PBFG are top tier if you can find them. At this point in the game, you will mostly find white and green class mods to use. There are a number of them that will be usable, while some are more situational depending on your gear. Let's go over some. An anarchist class mod is good for additional gun damage, but you will lose accuracy just like the skill. A Jill of all trades class mod will boost assault rifle damage and mag size, which can be good if you find an assault rifle you like, and can also buff smaller, lighter, faster. Prodigy and Sweetheart class mods will both buff Cooking Up Trouble, and additionally the Prodigy class mod will buff weapon accuracy and reload speed, while the Sweetheart class mod will buff your party's max health. The Punk class mod will buff fire rate and decrease your magazine size while also boosting smaller, lighter, faster. The Roboteer class mod will increase your action skill cooldown rate so you can bring out Deathtrap more often, and the Technophile will boost your shield capacity and shield recharge rate, but neither of these two mods will buff any of your skills at this point. Early on, I do like the Prodigy and Sweetheart mods for the Cooking Up Trouble boost, but you can't control RNG, so do whatever makes sense for your build depending on what you can find. Alternatively, you can farm med vendors for your desired class mod. For shields, just try to find whatever you can with the highest capacity. Turtle shields will be a good option later once we spec into Blood-Soaked shields, as that skill will replenish a large portion of our shield on kill. Nova shields will also be good for the same reason. Adaptive shields are also a good option as Gaige can be rather squishy, so more health at this point in the game is not a bad thing. Now I'm just going to say that a lot of these gear recommendations are largely personal preference. There might be something that I didn't mention here that you might find you like, so don't be afraid to try something different. Also, most things in normal mode will suffice, especially with buffs from Anarchy. Let's get back on track. Once you hit level 15, return to Sanctuary to pick up the Mighty Morphin quest from Hammerlock. Do not start it yet. You just want it to be open in your quest log because you won't be able to pick it up after the next story mission for a while. Talk to Roland if you haven't already, and head to the Tundra Express and finish a train to catch to begin Rising action. Once Sanctuary flies away and you are back in Three Horns Divide, re-enter Sanctuary. You will be in Sanctuary Hole, and from there, get through all the bandits and take the elevator down to the Caustic Caverns entrance, or, for style points, jump down to the entrance. Upon entry to the Caustic Caverns, make sure you have grenades and equip your skyrocket. Now make sure the Mighty Morphin mission is selected. Use the valve to open the door and let a Varkid pod up to an adult. Before it hatches, go up to the pod to mutate it. A mutated badass Varkid will spawn from the pod instead of an adult Varkid, which you can use your skyrocket to kill. Now this is important. Hammerlock will ask you to pick up the sample, and then will ask you to mutate 4 more Varkids and grab those 4 samples. Only pick up the original sample that unlocks his request for 4 extra samples. It's okay if you accidentally pick up 1 to 3, but as soon as you pick up the 4th one, you will not be able to farm the Varkids, and we will be coming back to this later. So try not to pick any up. Farm the Varkids until level 16. With this farming method, I recommend fighting 2 to 3 mutated Varkids at a time. Any more and it might be a struggle for you to stay alive. Remember to use Death Trap and Skyrockets here. And one more thing with Death Trap. As soon as you spawn him, he will start attacking things. He can attack mutated pods before they pop, so be careful not to bring him out too early. I'd wait until you have at least 2 mutated Varkids before using him. At level 16, throw a point into Robot Rampage in the Ordered Chaos tree. This will give Death Trap a powerful melee attack that will help with more mutated Varkid farming that we will do later, as well as other enemies throughout the game. After hitting 16, continue with the story until you make it back to Sanctuary. Once you are back in Sanctuary and have talked to Roland, go to the Sanctuary bounty board and pick up the Clan War questline. These are a series of quests that run mainly between the Dust and the Highlands that we want to complete. The last mission in this questline will ask you to kill either the Zaffords or the Hodunks. Kill the Hodunks and then turn in the mission to Mick Zafford, which will cause a new waypoint to Lynchwood to appear. You will want to travel through this waypoint to Lynchwood and then turn around and go back to the Dust through the waypoint and not the Lynchwood fast travel station. This will spawn you at the train when you restart your game, closer to the Hodunks. You can farm the Hodunks for a Slaga, which will help you for the majority of the rest of normal mode, and will be a good slagging weapon in later playthroughs, so do your best to keep it. If you get an early Slaga, keep farming the Hodunks until level 21. If you don't get one by level 21, keep farming until you get one. This gun will help out a lot, so we will want one. Death Trap should help out with this farm, and Skyrockets again are going to be put to good use here, because when you start this farm, you should be slightly under-leveled. At level 17 through 20, put your points into Blood-Soaked Shields. With this skill, whenever you kill something, a portion of your shield will be replenished, but you will lose a small percentage of your health. Every point gives you 20% of your shield back, and you lose 1% of your health. Cooking up trouble will help mitigate the health loss from this skill a little bit. When you reach level 21, throw a point into Discord. Discord will do a number of things. Perhaps the most important is that now you can prematurely reload without losing all of your anarchy stacks. What will happen instead is that your stacks will decay over time, and all you have to do is prematurely reload again to stop the decay. While the stacks are decaying and Discord is active, you get improved accuracy at a 65% bonus, which can help negate a good chunk of stacks, increased health regeneration at 3% per second, and a 25% increase in your fire rate. This skill is an essential skill for any anarchy build. Once you are at least level 21 and have a Slaga, do the Wildlife Preservation mission. Additionally, if you want to, you can pick up Doctor's Orders from Tanis before you head to the Wildlife Exploitation Preserve to do a loot midget farm. If you're not familiar with this, there is a room you can farm loot midgets in near the spot that you will find Bloodwing's Feather, as long as you don't pick up any of the echoes Tanis wants you to collect for the mission. When you get to Bloodwing at the end, the Slaga can handle the fire phase, and the Skyrocket can take care of the shock and corrosive phases. By the time you complete the mission, you will likely be at or around level 22. We want to make our way down to Rational Anarchist in order to give us a chance to get some anarchy a little more quickly because of all the save and quit farming we will do. So at levels 22 to 25, put a point into Typecast Iconoclast. This skill will give you a higher chance to gain 2 stacks whenever you would gain 1 stack at a 6% chance per point. Having to save and quit on Gaige is a killer for your stacks, so we need to try and get our damage back as soon as possible. The better half is an option here, but because of all the farming we're going to be doing in the mid to late 20s, we're going to need to get stacks as quickly as possible during non-farm portions. Next, we're going to run the story all the way to the end of The Man Who Would Be Jack Said an Opportunity. When you finish the Once and Future slab, you will get an option between a rocket launcher and a roid shield. Take the rocket launcher as this will likely be your new second winding weapon, unless it's a fire launcher, which will be tough for the loaders and constructors ahead. At this point, we're going to go back to the Caustic Caverns to farm mutated Varkids until level 24, as the next story quest jumps up quite a bit in level. Just repeat the same method as earlier with the Varkids, and try not to pick up any mutated samples. Also, now that you have a Slaga, you can slag the Varkids for easier kills. Next, we're going to go back to 1000 Cuts for the quest Where Angels Fear to Tread. Hopefully by this point you'll have a good corrosive weapon because there will be a lot of armored enemies up ahead, along with Bunker. Check the mutated Varkid drops because they can give you what you might need. The constructors can be tough, but just be patient with them and take cover from their attacks. There are plenty of enemies to kill to increase your stacks on the way to Bunker, so do your best to stay alive. After completing the quest and being teleported back to Sanctuary, yet again we're going back to farm mutated Varkids, this time until level 26. I didn't mention this before, but the reason we could keep doing this is because the Caustic Cavern scales to the story level. If we try to do this in the Tundra Express, it wouldn't work as enemies would be around level 15. So this farm, while it can be challenging, is one of the best in the game. When you get to level 26, you should have 4 points in Typecast Iconoclast, and you will put your newly earned point into Rational Anarchist. This skill will cause you to gain 25 stacks when you would normally gain your first stack, giving you a nice jumpstart on your stacking. This will be a lot of help if you do end up dying unexpectedly or have to save and quit. Another benefit of this skill is that you can be a little more liberal with your Discord. If you have just over 25 stacks and need to heal, just activate Discord and let it run your stack count to 0. After this, the next time you get a stack, your counter will be set to 25. Really, at any point your stack count goes below 25, you should do this. After hitting level 26, you'll want to continue with the story and do Toil and Trouble. The Slaga should still be pretty good at this point, even with low amounts of anarchy, and the Skyrocket should help out with the ambush commanders. For the buzzards at the top of the tower, try to keep an on-level or near on-level corrosive sniper rifle. Death Trap can also help take them out. After reaching the Arid Boneyard, go back to the Caustic Caverns to farm mutated Varkids yet again, this time to level 28. At levels 27 to 31, spec into the better half. This skill will increase your fire rate by a significant amount for the second half of your magazine. The increase is 12% per point for a very large DPS boost. This will hardly be noticeable with smaller magazine weapons and Jacob's weapons, but will work better with larger magazine sizes. It will come in handy with the guns we will get in the late game. At level 28, go back to the Arid Boneyard and continue the quest Data Mining. When you reach the Arid Badlands, make sure to visit the Firestone Bounty Board and pick up Uncle Teddy. Pick up the Echoes and then the blueprint out of the vendor and then save and quit. Now, if you are on PC, you'll want to switch to read-only in order to farm a non-elemental Lady Fist. Shock is fine, but you do not want Fire, Corrosive, or Slag. If you are on console, same goes for you, but it will obviously be dashboard farming. This weapon will be very helpful in the final fight. Continue with the mission until you get to Saturn. You can try to kill him if you want, there's no easy way to do it though, as he's just a giant ball of health. Or you can try and run past him. You can send out Death Trap to try and use him to distract Saturn while you run to the access terminal. Once you access the terminal, go back to Sanctuary and turn in the mission. If you create a new level 30 character, this is the point in the game you will enter at. The only thing you will want to do is grab a Lady Fist from the arid Badlands and be spec'd as shown here, but you should be okay to proceed with the final mission after that. Head to the Iridium Blight with Claptrap to begin the final mission. There are a lot of loaders on the way to Jack, but your main threats will be RPG loaders, the lone super badass loader, and the super badass constructor, all of which you can use your Lady Fist on to crit. Kill Jack and then you will fight the warrior. Try not to use the Lady Fist to break open the crit spot on his chest to conserve ammo. The slag is a good option here, but the Lady Fist will work if you need it to. There are ammo crates that can spawn all around the warrior's arena. Once you beat the warrior, you have completed normal mode. If you started at level 1, you should be at or near 30 and your skill tree should look something like this. It'll vary by a point depending on your level. You can now start True Vault Hunter mode, where enemies will have twice the health. We're not quite done with normal mode yet, but we'll save that for the next video. Anyways guys, that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully it makes your normal mode experience a little less painful. Thanks for watching guys, I'll see you in the next one.